Hey everybody, welcome back to Studio F. Today's video is about we eat like the credit card's worth of plastic every week. I figured out a way to make like plastic come out of your body just with the correct notes. The thing just come falling out of your head. Like, do it right, and the plastic comes right out of your body in the form of guitar picks. Yeah! Today's video is about the scratch track for the song Gimme. Here is a QR code for the song. If you like the song, you stick around for the video. Here is another QR code for the full list of videos for this song Gimme posted to the web. There it is. All right. Cool. I like that. All right. And I post every Friday at 4. Friday at 4. F. Okay, you could say that the scratch track is the anchor to the song. There are no players playing together, so you have to kind of build that illusion, and the scratch track is how we do it. It's a one-man band. You can't play to air. You got to play to something. I mean, sure, you could hum along and play the whole track. Try that. Let me know how it goes. So we have the scratch track. So why is it called the scratch track in the first place? Well, it's intended to be erased. It's kind of like a guide track. I mean, did the drums play with the bass? Did the guitar play with the keyboard player? No, it doesn't matter because the scratch track guides everybody. Think of the scratch track as the phantom conductor. He's there guiding everybody, but not really playing anything. He's a phantom. He's a phantom. That's good. It's a phantom. So what's the big deal with the scratch track? Well, if you do it wrong, you're doomed. I mean, and worse yet, if you don't figure that out, that you blew it a few tracks on, it's a whole waste. It kills the whole Jimmy of the song. For example, a blown scratch track is something that, let's say you play something unsteady and you realize that all the other tracks that you laid after that are also unsteady. It's over with, done. So be wise about your scratch track. It has to be solid, it has to be simple, it has to be steady, and it has to be pretty much, what's the word? Bare minimum. Just enough to allow you to properly lay down the rest of the tracks. And remember, it's gonna get erased anyway, so there you go. When you write a song, you have that initial inspiration and you wanna make sure it makes it to the track. And so you kind of want to try and force that into the scratch track. But that's not necessary. Remember, it's going to be thrown away anyway. You want to spread it out over all the tracks. Let that inspiration evolve. Like, for example, on the track Gimme, my original idea was to have 3 guitars do the riffs. You know, kind of like a puzzle kind of a thing. So it was easy to put my scratch track together because I knew I was coming up with that. I knew that was the direction I was going to take with the song. I really think you kind of have to hear the song in your head, and that becomes a roadmap of where to take it. You might say, I want the guitars to sound like Queen, or something vague, I want the drums to be fat. These are all just springboard ideas. Once you get in there and you get going on the whole track, let it go where it wants, and you follow it. Oh, the finer points of doing what I do here, home recording. Here's a bunch of tips, shortcuts, how-tos, what I like to call brain patches to help you along and kind of make it a little bit easier for you. Okay, you get going. Let's say you have the idea you want a clean strat for the verse, and then for the chorus coming right after that, you want a big, chunky, fat, grindy sound for the guitar. Well, you can't do either properly without a good, solid drum, bass, rhythm section track to play with. So the scratch track, that's the one that comes up to the rescue, yeah. And so what you do is you kind of make an amalgam. Your scratch track might be an amalgam of both the clean and the crunchy one to allow you to put those down later on perfectly. Yeah. But what if you like the scratch track? What if there's a portion of it you want to save as part of the final track? What you do is you clone that track in the software and then you erase all the other parts you don't want and just keep the part you want. Erase, delete, whatever you need to do. Whoa! What did I just say there? Delete, erase? Oh no. What I do, every time I start a session, I come in on the computer, I just turn it up, I'm gonna work today on the song. I make a copy of the song, I save as, add the words back up and the date, put it off to the side, then I open the song I wanna work on. So whatever I do, if I screw something up, I can only lose 1 day's work. Okay, let's say you're cooking along, you're doing your scratch track, everything's happening fine, it's sounding good, you're playing it really well, and in the middle of doing it, you have a great idea. Well, you gotta stop, you gotta capture that idea. Ideas are gifts from the universe. You wanna make sure you get that idea, put it in the software and move on. You can always do that, even if it's just a basic idea, because if you don't, if you go on, you go, oh, what was that idea? You're gonna kick yourself, you don't want that, no. Another thing to remember, the scratch track is going to get thrown away anyway. So you can kind of make it unusual in the sense that it's not going to be heard. It's just a guide track. So let's say you have a guitar part coming up that's on the upbeat. To help you play that evenly on the upbeat, you might want to make the scratch track hard on the downbeat, just because it's not going to be heard, but it's going to help you do other tracks. So another way to think of the scratch track as being helpful. Oh no, a great track, but guess what? You're out of tune. Oh, you can't have that. Make sure that you always tune up, especially on the scratch track. Because if you have other tracks already laid down, you play a track, you'll hear if it's out of tune. Scratch track, you won't know, so you got to keep that tuner handy at all times. Yeah, tuner, where's my fork? Now, on the song Gimme, because the guitar tracks were split out among 3 guitars, there was no really initial guitar track I could put down, or a plain Jane track, if you will, I could put down as a scratch track, so I put the bass down as the scratch track. It turns out I used that bass track for the final cut. Another thing, in the case of scratch track, in the case of Gimme, the big old fat drums, the drums, those attacks are too long to really hear a definition of the beat. So what I do is I play the track with what I call the dinky drums, the TR 808 cymbal. You can really lock in to where 1, 2, and 3, where all the beats are, so you can play a much better scratch track with dinky drums. Another cool thing about the scratch track is, hey, you don't have to worry about playing a soulful track. You just want to get it right, smooth and even. It's going to be chucked away anyway, so it kind of takes the pressure off and allows you to get into the song and start the whole process. And, the first few tracks are the toughest. You want to get in good? Yeah, man, yeah. Okay, so there you have it. Scratch track outline. I totally dissected the song and added even more information for you to make scratch tracking easy for you. Next Gimme video is Refining the Groove, so make sure you check that out next Friday at 4. It should be a good one. All right.